Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is two of the releases from First Second Books this week. They are part of a new line of comic books called History Comics that's being put out by First Second. Much like their science comics, they are attempts to boil down a lot of history into easy, digestible graphic novels. So these are the first two. There's some more coming out. They've already said that there's one based off of the Challenger disaster that's going to be coming, and having lived through that, I'm not looking forward to reading it. And then Stonewall Riots, which I think is going to be really fascinating to see what history they cover on that one. And then Montgomery bus boycott as well. So really looking forward to this line. I think it's been absolutely fantastic. These are two really interesting, very different graphic novels. So we're doing them in separate reviews, and this review we're going to be talking about the Roanoke Colony, America's First Mystery. For those who don't know, I'm located in Virginia. The history around this area is a mystery to me. I did not grow up in this area. I've lived here for quite a while at this point, but instead I grew up in New York for the most part. And what's interesting and things that I've discovered is education is very different depending on where you live. So in New York, I learned about the Native American tribes that were in that area, all the massive major tribes there. So stuff like the Roanoke mystery is completely new to me. This is not something that I ever learned. This isn't something I know about, and these tribes that are involved in that are like completely foreign to me. So I went to this really kind of fascinated to learn about this because, I hear Roanoke, Virginia, and I know it's kind of a big deal, and it's not really Virginia, it's North Carolina history. That's the first thing that blows my mind. It has to do with the Outer Banks, and I'm fascinated by this whole thing. I honestly think it really just showed how little I actually know about the region I'm living in currently. So for those who know, Roanoke Colony is this English colony way before the Pilgrims, and they came in and they landed and settled in kind of the Southern Virginia, North Carolina area, and the idea was to build a colony whose entire goal and purpose was to then take on the Spanish. Spanish were the dominating empire at that time, Catholic, and then you had Queen of England, who was Protestant, and she wanted to stand up to the Spanish and kind of take them on, become a world power themselves. And part of that was to take on the Spanish Empire, and to do that they needed a colony in the U.S., and it became out this really interesting thing of the people involved and the philosophy behind it. And it's just really amazing graphic novel. I think does an amazing job diving through just a failure after failure after failure of building this colony. And what's really fascinating is a lot of stuff that led to that failure is the stuff that we're seeing today. The two original guys that were supposed to plan out this as the colony, their idea was, hey, the government needs to take care of this, because if we leave it to privateers, that they're just going to care about short-term profit and not long-term viability of the colony. And sure enough, the Queen was like, no, we're going to let private corporations handle it, and they went with short-term profits instead of long-term viability. So, issue number one. From there, of course, we have the abuse of the Native Americans, that the people that landed there were over-consuming, they weren't sharing, they weren't planning really well, so everything's going wrong with that, and just the morons going back and forth between England to try to deal, and England kind of not really caring about the colony and just leaving it as is and not giving the supplies like it needed to, and it's just bad decision after that. Even the location, it goes over why this is a horrible location for a colony. But it's a fascinating graphic novel, and what I really like about it is it doesn't give you anything definitive. It gives the general history of the colony, the multiple settlings of it, that there were multiple mysteries of it. The actual final disappearance of the colony is not the first thing. There was actually a whole bunch of individuals who were there and disappeared as well. bunch of slaves that were dropped off there, and it's just it's really good. The artist, I think, is solid. Keeps up with the Chicago, this like slightly like cartoony look to it all. I don't know how quite to describe it. It's fantastic. Like, I'm like 40-something years old, 41 years old, and I've learned so much from this. It's really entertaining, laid out so well. I can't recommend this enough. Like, if you don't know this bit of history, you need to check it out. Like, it's really, really, really good. And afterwards, there's a thing by Chris Schweizer who does like a How Do We Know What We Know, and it takes you through that. So the graphic novel itself is by Chris Schweizer, and then color assistance by Liz Trice Schweizer. It's awesome. Like, this is such a good, fantastic graphic novel. Like, it's just so educational, so entertaining, and I absolutely love it. Like, I can't wait to read more of this line. The Chicago Fire, I think, was fantastic graphic novel. This is fantastic as well. So go check it out. Like, educational, entertaining. This one's actually great for adults and kids. Maybe a little bit older kids. I would say maybe like 10 to 12 is probably where I would start it off with, mostly because there's a lot of like battling and killing and death and stuff like that. So I don't know how younger kids might react to that. I'm not a good judge of that sort of stuff. So think about it. Like, it's colonization, killing people due to disease, killing people due to war, people with arrows in them, all kinds of a lot of death, and then the other is there's a lot of political intrigue. So, I don't know how all kids will like that part, but as an adult, like, I love this. It's such a great graphic novel. It's out now in comic shops, out now in bookstores. Go support your comic shop, though. Got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. It'll tell you if a shop's near you. No shop, no problem. We do have affiliate links. There are affiliates, so we do have we get a small percentage of that, but go support your comic shop. And speaking of support, I want to thank for a second for opening us up with a review copy. This is such a fantastic line of graphic novels. I can't wait to see what else you have in store. As always, thanks so much for watching. Now, if you're into graphic novels, if you're into for a second, comics in general, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.